I think a problem that a lot of people face today is that their minds are locked. They have only one way of thinking about things. They've become so conventional, and I know it's something, I'm not being judgmental because I have the same problem. So rigid about this is the way the world is, this is how things have to be, this is how my life has to be, this is what meaning is, this is where value is in life. And I compare it to like a circle. And being a social animal, our thoughts have to sort of stay within this circle of what ideas are accepted, of what behavior is accepted, what conventions and codes there are. And the sublime is what lies just outside that circle. And the word sublime means up to the threshold of a door. And that door is the door to death itself. And so when you peek at it and you look at it, that's the ultimate in a sublime thought, okay? So that's kind of the model. But I have these different categories. And I want to make you, the reader, aware that you take so much for granted. And I don't want this to be in a Pollyannish way, because the sublime has an element of terror, darkness, and fear involved, because death is the paradigm here.
Do you have some tips or ideas on how we can work on that integration?
Well, it's a feeling of whether you're turning inward or whether you're turning outward. I mean, obviously there's going to be gradations of that. We're not always completely turning out or inward, but the degree to which you can get outside of yourself and make that inward pull towards your ego, towards your insecurities, towards your own continual occurring thought, and get outside of yourself and put yourself into your work fully and engage with it as if it's something outside of you. To the degree that you're able to get outside of yourself and engage completely with other people as a reality that has nothing to do with you. They have their own reality, their own experience. You know, as you're able to do that with people in all sorts of situations, to me, that's the highest form of therapy that you can have.
Build something and excel. Use it as a force to make you competitive. You always tend to compare yourself to people who are more powerful than you. Why don't you look down on the scale and look at people who are less powerful than you and compare yourself to them so that you can begin to appreciate what you have. You know, oh, he's got so much better parents than I do. I wish I had a mother like that. Well, look at your friend who had the worst kind of mother and feel appreciative of what you have. It wasn't that bad. So look at the other side and compare yourself to people who have it much worse than you. And also, instead of feeling, there's a thing called schadenfreude, which is a form of envy, where if someone says that they've had a bad experience, it almost makes you feel happy inside. You get joy from other people's pain. If your friend doesn't get hired for a job, for a moment you feel almost kind of happy because...
What did you say that's called? That's called
schadenfreude.
Okay.
German for joy in pain, feeling joy in other people's pain. It's a very big component of envy. Law number 4, and it's the fact that by talking too much in a meeting or in any kind of situation, you make people inadvertently smell weakness on you. A lot of communication between humans is nonverbal. We feel, we sense something from you, and it communicates, and we have an impression. And people who talk a lot generally give an impression of they don't know how to control themselves. They can't control who, you know, and it doesn't, whereas people who kind of say a little bit less, you know, who kind of speak in riddles almost, who say, yeah, that's great, I'll think about it, or whatever, gives off an impression of power, as if they know more than they actually do. Because the game of power, a lot of it has to do with appearances.
If you're so much in people's face, if you're continually there, they're naturally going to grow tired of you. They're naturally going to think that you're kind of weak, that you're trying too hard for attention. They may not say it, but they feel it, a slight level of contempt from within. And so if you disappear for a day or several days or a week, people are going to start thinking about you, and they're going to wondering, well, maybe I didn't really know Chris. Maybe he's a little more mysterious and dimensional than I thought of. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe he's disappeared for this reason or that. And as they think about you, and as they maybe fantasize about what's going on in your mind,